I genuinely love selling on Etsy and being a print-on-demand business owner. However, I wanted to take a moment today to just talk about the expectations you should have in going into this business model and becoming a print-on-demand seller on any platform. There are some things that are mildly infuriating and annoying, to say the least, and I wanted to validate maybe some experiences others have had. I personally have had. I've been selling on the platform Etsy for the past few years. I've sold hundreds to thousands with Etsy and my print-on-demand business. If you're looking to enter into the business model of print-on-demand, it is a beautiful world. I want to welcome you in. If you're new to this channel, my name's Heather. I've been a prior 1% top seller on the platform, and I don't want to make this video to scare anyone off of selling any business model. You're going to come across issues, and that's just kind of the give and take. But the benefits for print-on-demand's sake always outweigh the cons in my eyes. At least I was able to quit my 9-to-5 for this. So I just want to start the video off by saying that. I just wanted to also go over that it's not all rainbows and butterflies out there in being a print-on-demand seller. There are some nuisances and some things that aren't fun, and we're going to talk about it in this video today. So we're going to hop straight into it, guys. So the first thing that we need to address is the investment of time and money to start a print-on-demand business. To start a print-on-demand business, it is not free. I think that was something that I've seen kind of floating around the internet, that it is free. It is not free. You do have to invest about $50 to as much as a few $100 to start up this business model. The process of signing up for a Printify account is completely free, and signing up on Etsy isn't though anymore as far as 2024 goes. One thing that I thought of when I was starting this business model, and something that convinced me to start, was the fact that I was spending so much money on fast food. Probably every single week was way higher than the cost of investing into a new business. And that's where I started making PB&Js at home or packing a lunch for work. And instead of going out for lunch for work or buying a coffee in the morning, I would invest that $5 to $10 a day into my business. And over time, I was able to reinvest in my business continuously to the point that it grew to hitting multiple four figures of profit a month. And I also want to say that this is nothing like a brick and mortar business, right? A lot of brick and mortar businesses have to invest in their rent, their lease per month, in their inventory, employees, and so many other parts of owning a brick and mortar business is very high as far as investments go in comparison to the print-on-demand business model, which we're looking at $50 to a few $100s. What I found for my own experience was I audited myself and said, okay, what am I spending every week that I can invest into a business instead to make me more money, and then later I can reap the benefits. A rough couple of weeks and months of doing that, but again, I'm just so happy that I took that step and saved and reinvested into my business. So the next thing to address is your time investment. Now, the amount of time that you invest when you begin is very different than the time that you'll invest when you're maintaining your print-on-demand and Etsy business. When I first started out, I woke up earlier before work to work on my business. I would work on my business during my lunch breaks, and then after my work hours, I would check in on messages. I would make sure orders are going through correctly, and then I would still create new listings after work. I was working at a hospital too, and I was on call. So in between me being on call and working regular hours, it was a lot to juggle, but I did it. And then I eventually quit my 9-to-5. I know when I told my manager about my shop initially, they were like, oh, haha, that's cute that you have a little business. And then the business ended up becoming way bigger than a cute little business. And I ended up quitting, and they were just like, oh, we're losing an employee. I didn't realize it was that big of a business. It is a time investment, and for me, I was so passionate in designing for listings and creating more and more listings. This might just not be the thing for you if if you find you don't have passion in it. I know I love creating, I love designing, and I know a lot of people who watch this channel do as well. So besides talking about the startup hours, once I had a full-fledged business and I quit my 9 to 5, my hours of work was about 5 to 10 hours a week that I worked on my print-on-demand business after I quit my job, because I wasn't actively uploading as many listings, and I didn't really need to upload that many listings because I already had bestsellers. If I was really trying to upload a lot of listings, I would work maybe more like 20 hours again, but maintenance is far less than how long it takes to build a shop. So just keep that in mind if you're looking to start a print-on-demand business. Is you may have more hours at the beginning, and then to maintain a business for print on demand, it's a lot less hours over time, but I will say it does rev up during the holiday season. The next thing that kind of stinks as far as being a print on demand business owner is the slow seasons. You will have slow seasons of your business. And typically I like to say that these slow seasons start with the letter J, because this has almost always been the slowest months for my own shop. So January, June, and July are the slowest month that I have historically seen in my own shops. I will say also February is really slow. Some of the reasons could be due to the amount or the types of listings that you are selling in your shop. If you have listings that are more geared towards evergreen niches, maybe occupations or the dog loving niche, or maybe anniversary gifts, birthday gifts, that sells all year round. So that's just something to think about, is the diversification of your niches versus products and your listings as a whole. If you have evergreen and seasonal listings in your shop, that's usually the better route to take, so you don't see that quick of a drop off in sales once January and February hit. So the next thing that is tough in running an Etsy and print on demand business is you are a multiple hat wearer of your business. And this is the struggle of just being a solo entrepreneur, is that you are the designer of your product, you are the SEO writer, your social media manager, you're the customer service rep, and the technical support for your business. To be quite honest, once you start a print on demand and Etsy business, you really don't technically get time off unless you have maybe a family member take over and log into your shop and handle customer service when you're unable to, or maybe you eventually have the means to hire someone out. But that's one of the struggle buses, so to speak, with running an Etsy and print on demand business. And this is something at first I didn't see as a problem, because I was like, well, I'm getting sales 24/7, so I'm cool with that. If that's kind of the give and take I have to take on in order to see sales 24/7, then that's fine. What's really tough about being a solo entrepreneur is sometimes you feel like you have to always be answering messages, or there might be an emergency that someone might want a refund and they might want to order canceled. And just know that you can set boundaries by setting as simple as a auto reply on your Etsy shop, maybe on the weekends. There is also vacation mode on Etsy. I will say it's kind of not a vacation mode in a way, because you still have to answer messages, but at least that auto reply triggers and sends to your customers automatically. Also, I've got into the habit of going on Google Calendar, and I will set certain days where I'm in email and I'm out of email, or maybe that I'm going to be working on my Etsy shop for 4 hours. Getting out planners is a really great way to set boundaries mentally as well. Really organizes my thoughts personally, and that's what I recommend to those of you as well. I'm actually going to I'll show a little bit. Yeah, so this is my planner, and as you guys can see, I just have like 2-hour time blocks. I have if I have appointments or anything, and then if I'm like taking off a few days here or there, it's my birthday coming up, so I have my birthday on there. But I have my birthday weekend that we're leaving, but this just helps like organize in my brain, like, hey, Heather, you have off time. Mentally separate yourself from work. So the next thing to talk about is that it takes time and a lot of patience to make this business model work. I would say it takes typically 3 months to 6 months to see listings start to really organically grow on Etsy. And on top of that, it takes a year to a few years to really see scaling and sale volumes that some people are able to quit their 9 to 5s. And I like to say that my story is a skewed data point as far as what on average a lot of sellers make. I've seen a lot of sellers typically make 4 to 5 figures maybe a year. Some make 6 figures in a year, but a lot of sellers may just make a few hundred in a year, but still that's a additional income stream, right? So just keep that in mind. I know some people go into this business model expecting a lot within maybe a year time frame, and it's good to keep it as realistic as you can because you again don't want to burn yourself out. So the other thing that's a struggle that goes along with multiple hat wearing is just feeling lonely as a new seller, maybe not feeling connected to others such as coworkers or friends or family. It's kind of hard to talk about your business when you first start out. And I know for me, it was very lonely because I was scared to tell people until I started telling people. And it's kind of just one of those awkward things when you first start out because you almost don't want to tell people, but then you want to grow your business and ask for advice. One thing and resource that I have is I do have a membership called the Bestseller Insider membership. You can check that out down below, but this is a live community. I do coaching calls twice a month in there. I go over monthly trends, what to design for, products, niches. There's so much within that monthly membership. So if you're interested in finding like-minded sellers and getting some advice within there, highly recommend checking that out. But that's something that I created for that very reason because it is very lonely when you start out as an Etsy seller. And that was one of the primary reasons why I decided to create that membership. The next issue that you may face as a print-on-demand seller is that you may have to pivot. Every business experiences a time and a place where they have to pivot and change maybe the types of products they're selling or the designs or the services they're offering. And some of the reasons why is just because trends come and they go. And that can happen for platforms too, right? For me personally, I have had times where I've had to completely change my game plan on products I sold. I sold primarily the Sand Gildan 18,000 crew neck sweatshirt, one of my first Christmas and holiday seasons that I sold in, and come to find out that product went out of stock. Since everything was out of stock, I wasn't getting as many orders and I had to pivot. Instead of selling the sand colored sweatshirt, I sold the ash colored sweatshirt as my main mock-up photo. From doing that switch, I ended up making 5 figures in selling the ash colored sweatshirt. And from then on, ash was my new most popular color. So it's okay to pivot. Sometimes your pivot's gonna be better than your initial idea too. So just keep that in mind as being a seller with print on demand. If one color's out of stock or one product's out of stock or you're not able to sell that product anymore, what can you change that product to still stay at the top of the market and the top of the page on Etsy? So another thing to expect that goes along with pivoting in your business is that you do want to actively upload new listings monthly in your shop. Now, this is platform specific as far as selling on the Etsy platform. I've noticed that if you are inactive for some time on your shop, you may notice your sales and visits start to decline over time. And usually that happens in a span of a year to a few years, but you do want to keep uploading new listings. One reason why is because your past customers will get notifications when you upload new listings to your shop. So that's a huge bonus of adding new listings. Also, like I was talking about with pivoting, that trends come and they go. So if you have listings that performed well in the past, new listings may come up that may take over that status of that initial listing that did really well on Etsy. So this is just an example of why you should always continuously keep uploading listings and just working to improve your products that you're selling in your Etsy shop. That can go a long way in the long term of selling on Etsy. Just because you ranked in the past doesn't mean that you can keep your rank. You can keep it for some time, but it's always good to add new products and new listings to your Etsy shop. Again, just in the long term. The last, I would say, struggle that is specific to selling on Etsy is that the copycat culture is very strong on Etsy. And if you end up having a bestseller on Etsy or a top selling product, a popular now badge product, then this is something that may happen to you where people are starting to copy the design you created or screenshotting the picture of your listing and selling it as your own. Now, I've had this happen to me more times than I can count, and it is very infuriating. I can't say that word. Type infuriating down below in the chat to troll me in the comments section if you made it to this part of the video, but I will just say annoying from this point on. This is something that is mildly, and not mildly, but it's just annoying that this is a culture that exists on Etsy. But if you've went on any other platform or sold on any other platform, this is prevalent across the internet, not just Etsy. There has been Shopify stores I have found and other websites and Redbubble that have taken my designs and resold them on their websites. This is where I recommend to some of you to look into filing a DMCA takedown notice. This is a claim you can report with most major platforms. So Etsy has a DMCA takedown claim form that you can fill out if you catch another seller who is selling your design and stating it's their own design. So what happens when you file this is Etsy will take down that listing most of the time right away for a week, and that gives the option to the other seller if they want to file a counterclaim. Now, this is where sometimes situations can get a little bit sticky because I have had some sellers in the past file the counterclaim, and that does happen, but sometimes Etsy will report that, hey, you're in the right as the original seller of this design, so we're not going to allow them to file that counterclaim. That can happen too, but just know that that is a option for those of you who have had copycats. That's just something I would recommend to those of you who end up hitting those higher sale volumes and have a bestseller or popular now. That's it for this video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. And I know at the end of this video, a lot of people ask, hey Heather, with all of these problems, is print on demand worth it? And let me just say that it is so worth it. And like I said at the beginning of this video, I genuinely believe print on demand is one of the most lucrative business models that you can really go into. And it's something that can be done as a almost like hobby like I did when I began. And I love designing for products and creating listings, and over time that passion led to profit for me. So if you feel like you're late to the game, the print on demand industry is projected to grow almost 9 times more than what it was projected last year. So I hope that helps those of you who may have those feelings right now at the end of this video. Thank you all for watching. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button on the way out. Also, if you haven't started a print on demand business yet, I do have a free crash course that's A to Z how to start your own print on demand business. Links in the description below for signing up for that and getting that free course. Besides that, I'll see you all in the next video here.